Alex is standing in a store holding a jacket. $100. Same price tag, same store, same day. In one version of this moment, Alex reaches into a wallet and pulls out 5 $20 bills. Alex counts them, feels the weight in the hand, watches the cashier count them back. In another version, Alex taps a small piece of plastic. 1 beep, done. 2 seconds, and the jacket belongs to Alex. Same jacket, same $100. But somewhere between the wallet and the plastic, something changes. The purchase stops feeling like $100. Why does money feel different depending on how it leaves your hand? That is the question we are chasing today. And by the end, you will not look at your credit card the same way again. Economists have a name for that flinch you feel when you hand over cash. They call it the pain of paying. Your brain treats spending money the way it treats a small loss, and losses register in the same regions that process physical discomfort. Watch what happens inside Alex when the bills leave the wallet. Counting cash forces a tiny confrontation. 5 20s become 4, become 3, become 2, become 1. Each bill Alex hands over is one less bill in the wallet, and the brain tracks that drop in real time. Now watch the card. A tap produces no countdown, no stack of bills getting shorter, no visible balance falling in front of Alex's eyes. The transaction still costs $100, but the brain never gets the signal that would normally trigger the pain of paying. Researchers who study this have found something remarkable. People who pay with cards consistently spend more per transaction and report feeling less discomfort in the moment of purchase, even when they know exactly what the item costs. The pain is not about the math. It is about what the body gets to witness. This is where friction enters the story. Friction is anything that slows a purchase down and gives your brain a moment to catch up with your wallet. Counting cash is friction. Physically walking to an ATM is friction. Watching a bill get smaller is friction. Every one of those small obstacles buys your brain a second of hesitation, and hesitation is where second thoughts live. A credit card removes almost all of that friction on purpose. No counting, no walking, no shrinking stack. Just a tap, a beep, and a receipt Alex barely glances at. The store wants that transaction to feel effortless, because effortless transactions happen more often and for larger amounts. Picture Alex standing at the register a second time, this time buying something bigger, a television. With cash, Alex would need to physically gather that much money in advance, carry it, and hand over a thick stack in front of a stranger. With a card, the television costs the same one tap as the jacket did. The friction that would normally make a person pause has been engineered out of the moment entirely. Now add another layer. Alex's card offers 2% cash back. Every purchase quietly returns a small reward, and that changes how the purchase feels before it even happens. Watch Alex's face change at the register. Instead of thinking about the $100 leaving, Alex is thinking about the $2 coming back. The brain reframes the entire transaction around the reward instead of the cost. Spending starts to feel less like spending and more like a small win. This reframing is not an accident. Reward programs are designed to shift attention away from the total and toward the payoff. 2% back on $100 is $2. To earn that $2, Alex had to spend the full $100 first. But the reward is what gets remembered, not the spending that produced it. Alex begins reaching for the card even for purchases that would normally trigger hesitation, because each purchase now carries a small, imagined victory attached to it. The reward does not cancel the cost. It just changes which number Alex's brain chooses to focus on. A month later, Alex opens the credit card statement. The full balance reads $840. Right next to it, in smaller and calmer text, sits another number, the minimum payment, $35. Watch what that smaller number does to Alex's shoulders. The full balance would require real sacrifice this month. The minimum payment barely registers. Alex's brain does something almost automatic here. It treats the minimum payment as the real obligation, and the full balance as an abstract, future problem. Alex pays the $35, and feels a small sense of relief, as if the debt has been handled. But interest is still building on the remaining $805, quietly, every single day, whether Alex is thinking about it or not. This is one of the most carefully studied effects in behavioral finance. When people are shown a minimum payment number, they tend to pay closer to that minimum than they would if no minimum were shown at all, even when they are fully capable of paying more. The number itself acts like an anchor, and anchors are hard to swim away from. There is a deeper force running underneath all of this, something psychologists call present bias. Human brains are wired to weigh right now far more heavily than any future moment, even when the future moment is only 30 days away. Picture two versions of Alex standing side by side. Present Alex wants the jacket today, wants the television today, wants the $2 reward today. Future Alex is the one who has to find $840 plus interest next month. Present Alex makes the decision. Future Alex pays the bill. This is not a character flaw unique to Alex. It is a wiring pattern shared by nearly everyone. A dollar spent today feels far more real and far more urgent than a dollar owed next month, even though it is the exact same dollar. Credit cards do not create present bias, but they remove every obstacle that might otherwise interrupt it, letting present Alex make decision after decision without ever having to negotiate with future Alex in the room. Alex's brain also keeps something like an invisible set of separate ledgers, a habit researchers call mental accounting. Cash from a wallet feels like real, current money. Money on a credit card feels like it belongs to a different, more flexible category, almost like play money that will get sorted out eventually. Watch Alex handle a $20 bill and a credit card side by side. The bill feels final. Once it is spent, it is gone, and Alex can see the emptiness where it used to be. The card feels open-ended. There is no visible bottom to it, no stack that runs out, just a limit that feels far away. Because of this mental split, the exact same $100 purchase can feel completely different depending on which account Alex believes it is coming from. Spending from the cash account feels heavier. Spending from the card account feels lighter, even though both accounts eventually draw from the very same paycheck. Put these four forces together, and a clear pattern emerges. Reduced pain of paying lowers the emotional cost of spending. Removed friction lowers the physical cost of spending. Rewards reframe spending as a small win. Minimum payments anchor Alex toward paying less than the full amount. Present bias tips every decision toward right now. Mental accounting makes card money feel less real than cash. None of these forces are flaws in Alex specifically. They are simply how human brains are built to process cost, reward, and time. Credit cards did not invent these patterns. They were designed deliberately around them. That is not necessarily a trap. It is closer to a set of rules. Once Alex understands the rules, Alex can start making them work in Alex's favor instead of the other way around. Here is where the story turns practical. If friction is what triggers the pain of paying, and pain of paying is what keeps spending in check, then Alex can choose to add some of that friction back on purpose. Watch Alex try a few small changes. Before any purchase over $100, Alex waits 24 hours before tapping the card, giving present bias time to fade and future Alex a chance to weigh in. Alex sets a calendar reminder to check the credit card balance every single week instead of once a month, shrinking the gap between spending and seeing the number grow. Alex switches the full statement balance to auto pay instead of the minimum, removing the anchor entirely, so there is nothing small to default toward. None of these changes require willpower in the moment. They work by rebuilding the friction that the card removed, placing it back exactly where a pause is most useful, before the purchase, not after. Weeks later, Alex is back in the same store, holding the same jacket, $100, same price tag. This time, Alex pauses before reaching for anything. Alex thinks about the pain that cash would create, and decides that pain is actually useful information, not something to avoid. Alex thinks about the reward on the card and recognizes it as a small win designed to distract from a bigger cost. Alex thinks about next month's statement and pulls that future moment a little closer instead of pushing it away. Alex still taps the card. The story was never really about avoiding credit cards altogether. It was about understanding exactly what happens in the gap between the tap and the bill, and choosing, on purpose, instead of drifting into the choice a card was quietly designed to make easy. So here's the answer to the question we started with. The same $100 can feel like two completely different amounts, not because the math changes, but because the experience of paying changes. Cash makes cost visible. Cards make cost disappear, right up until the statement arrives, and all of it becomes visible at once. Understanding that gap will not make a single purchase cheaper, but it can make every purchase a little more honest, and that honesty is worth far more than 2% back.